Elder Advisors, they are a unicorn as a business because they're the only one that does what they do. They cover all elements, everything that's involved when it comes to entering a senior facility and the money that you can save. Okay, you said the word unicorn before we left. Okay. Why is that important tonight for folks who want to attend the workshop?
Well, much as Mr. Langdon, the elder law superstar attorney, kind of coined the phrase, it is good news, and it is Kentuckiana, because we can help protect assets and give you peace of mind, take some of the stress off your shoulders. Lindsay's really alluded to the unicorn, and with that, I'm going to let Lindsay kind of explain what the unicorn is, because these people need to come out to the workshops.
Yeah, I think it's, when we talk about, I've been doing this for about 15 years, and when I first started working in nursing facilities, right, somebody would break a hip or even just have a routine hip replacement, let's say that, and they would come in and they would literally get 100 days of rehab. They would come and stay with us for 100 days to get rehab, you know, their meals and everything, 100 days. And we refer now to the 100 days as a unicorn. With just the changes with Medicare and things like that, and some of these Medicare supplement or replacement plans, it's just gotten harder and harder to get those. So we call the 100 days a unicorn. So if you're, you know, have an upcoming surgery, we're talking about some rehab, or you're in rehab now and they're, you know, you hear 100 days, it's a unicorn, it's a myth, it's not real, it doesn't exist. We get really excited, I get really excited when I have a client that's approaching 25, 30 days of rehab. We have folks that have, you know, massive life-changing strokes that really aren't even getting 100 days of rehab. And that's not the facility's fault. Y'all have to understand, that's not the facility's fault. That's them operating within the guidelines that Medicare and the Medicare replacements allow them to do it. And so it's just ill-advised to think that you have 100 days, you've got time to figure it out. Come out to the workshop. Come out to the workshop, because it's a unicorn. You don't have time. There's not 100 days. It's not 100.
The folks of Kentuckiana that are hearing this, they need to be at the workshop, because there's families that are thinking, well, I don't think the house is burning down yet because we're still in rehab and we think we have some time. And the reality is you don't, because it can stop at any moment and then you're handed a bill for $12,000. So get ahead of this. Get ahead of this. Come out to the workshops, whether it's Louisville tonight, Clarksville Tuesday, or Harrison County, Corden on Wednesday. Come out there, because for the people that are in rehab, you definitely need to get here. You need to get ahead of it, because otherwise the tail's going to start wagging the dog.
The actual regulation, John, is 48 hours. They have 48 hours to let you know that Medicare is not covering you, or your insurance is not covering you. And some insurance don't even require it. So, but 48 hours is the notice that that's the only notice they're required to give you.
So the need to be proactive is there. Yeah. We all said the news is good. So Steve, let's talk about this. It's a two-way street, though. The news is good, and yes, elder advisors can help you, but there's things that people need to do and be aware of, correct?
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to come out over these next 3 days, so that you can get that information about what you need to do, because it's all about pre-planning. It's all about being prepared, because it's not if something bad is going to, look, the four of us here, it's not if something eventually will happen to us, it's when. And you have to be prepared for it. So one thing that's really important that people overlook is the power of attorney.
Big time.
Oh, yeah, we see it all the time. Or we see a power of attorney that's drafted by, say, a family law lawyer, or you know, a business lawyer, or something like that.
Or the internet.
Or the internet, and it just doesn't work. When push comes to shove, and we're trying to protect assets, it doesn't work. Because the financial institutions of the world, they want to push back. They're trying to hold on to mom and dad's resources, their money. They don't want to work with us so that we can get them qualified for benefits. So that's so important that people have to come in. If you already have them drafted, bring them in, right? I'll take a look at them. I'll make sure they're okay. But those are the kind of things that we need to talk about. And if you've got that, if you've done pre-planning, you've been proactive, when the crisis hits, for a single person, we oftentimes don't save half. We're going to save 75 to 80%, if not more.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's what we really bring to the table with the workshops is, and I don't think the viewers fully appreciate this is what Mr. Langdon does. He walks the walk, he talks the talk. This gentleman was in the prosecutor's office in Clark County for years. He's now in private practice. He argues in both federal and state court, both sides of the river. And the reason I say that is for us to be successful, because I'm just kind of give it short shrift, is for elder advisors to help a family, John, a husband and wife, if one spouse goes into care, to keep all of the assets, or for a single person to keep half of the assets, we almost always need a legal component, which is happily Steve Langdon. That's why he is the elder law superstar for a reason, because he delivers for families. He gets out of the law office. If he has to go to a bank and explain power of attorney documents to the bank manager and stuff like that, he'll do that. I don't know of anybody else that does that. To be successful and to do this every day consistently, you need to have the right, dare I say, sometimes aggressive attorney when you need to do that, and that's what Steve brings for families.
So the legal side of this is important. If you
Which
don't
we're
mind, I
not
didn't
the
mean to
attorneys,
interrupt you,
right,
Lindsay, but
Steve?
what other things will be discussed too?
So I want to just circle back just with the power of attorney really quick. Is I sat across people over the course of my entire career that said, well, I don't have a power of attorney. I'm his wife. I'm his wife.
Touche.
Or I'm her husband. Well, that's not hill beans. It doesn't mean anything. Now, I have just as much access to your spouse's affairs and things that we need to do as you do if you don't have a power of attorney, even if you've been married for 40 or 50 years. And I don't think people realize that. So not an attorney, but that's that's an important point.
I can't tell you how many times we sat down with families, because one of the first questions that we ask them, because for us to excel doing the financial part at Elder Advisors, because we're not attorneys, is we need to be able to do the financials and get control of the assets. So I'll ask this, it's happened so many times I've lost track doing this in 26 years, but I'll ask the family, the wife has there been married 54 years, and I'll say, Miss Jones, do you have a power of attorney? And it's just, and I'll say, you've already told me the answer. You don't. Or I have a will, and I'm like, well, that's good, but usually what does that mean, Steve?
It means probate, it means courthouses and attorneys.
And that's for later.
That's for later. The thing is, people, you got to be proactive with this, and there's nothing worse than when I hear mom or dad say, I'll do that later when the time comes.
Yeah, right.
When I start feeling bad is when I'll do that. Well, when the time comes and you start feeling bad, oftentimes the wheels will come off the wagon.
Yeah, too late.
Too late. Yeah.
So promise me this, though. It's going to be entertaining tonight, tomorrow, and
Of
Wednesday.
course.
Are these guys ever not fun? It is fun.
Look, let's face it, Steve is not as good looking as he could be. So it's already a handicap for me.
I don't know.
I'll try to deliver. No, look,
That's
Steve
a pretty
is
high bar right
overcompensating.
there.
That is-
No,
it is. It is
Steve
true.
borrowed that suit from me. That's how
my
destitute the poor guy is. So we're going to try to overcome his shortcomings on the wardrobe. He will give reasonably good legal advice. Actually, it is stellar legal advice. And that's what I'm saying. Folks, this man bills at $300 an hour. He's giving
It's
an hour and a half. Yeah. Freeworkshop.com. It's a free workshop. Make use of that tonight, Kentuckiana, tomorrow or Wednesday. Make use of the right elder law attorney is there to impart words of wisdom on the legal part. We usually make ourselves available for free follow-up consultations for families for Steve to be there, because we always need to build it around the legal component. Elder advisors are not attorneys. Steve Langdon is. It could not be any easier for people.
And we'll have
Freeworkshop.com.
fun and we'll answer questions.
And you're going to feel better.
That's where
you're going to
there you
feel
go.
better. You're going to feel
Peace
better.
of mind's a big part of
There's
it.
a peace of mind from just coming out to the workshop, and it's the peace of mind is.
And I got to give a shout out to my buddy Ward Logan. Ward, I'm sorry, I'm more beautiful than you are, baby, but I still love you. You're my brother. Ward Logan,
my
Kentuckiana loves Ward
There we
Logan.
go. As you can tell, it will be entertaining. Don't forget now, that's tonight, tomorrow morning, and then Wednesday, right, in Corden.
Wednesday in
Yes, come
Corden.
out.
Okay.
Isn't there a statue in the town square for John Ramsey down there?
No, there is not.
I heard there was.
There is not.
There should be.
There should be.
He just gave a legal opinion.
We're having too much fun here. We'll take a break and we'll be back. So.